Alright, got one of my favorite battles that I have ever had against Cman, and considering how many times we've battled, that's pretty significant. So I start out with Falls of the Moltres instead of Falls of the Zapdos. They're both legendary birds and both side beasts, so same name. But I definitely cannot stay in because I'm up against Garchomp, courtesy of me not listening to Smogon for anything pertaining to tears. I go to Skullman because he's the best thing to deal with Garchomp, and, you know, Will-O-Wisp, Ice Punch. Either of those would be good, but Will-O-Wisp is probably going to miss since, you know, Skullman only has one eye and is not EV trained in accuracy, so I pick Ice Punch. And he does, in fact, have Yache Berry, which I kind of expected, but I was kind of hoping he didn't. And looks like from the damage it did, it would not have knocked him out in one hit anyway, which I wasn't really expecting it to, since I don't have that much attack investment in this Dusknoir. But anyway, my game plan for how to kill this thing is I wanted to use Scarf Heatran. I was hoping that I could maybe just go straight to it, predicting, I think I've seen this thing use Rock Slide before, so I was hoping to get maybe Heatran in on either Dragon Claw or Rock Slide, one of the two, and then be able to knock it out with Dragon Pulse. And so I run the damage calc on Smogon's damage calculator, ironically, and it's going to deal like probably 70% tops and 60% or so. And looking at that, I'm just really afraid that he might not have, like, or he may have sufficient special defense that it's going to leave him with a sliver of health, and I cannot have that happen. I've got to have this Dragon Pulse be like a definite KO. So as much as I hate to lose my Dusknoir this early, I guess it's probably the best play right now. So I need a little bit more damage on there to feel really secure. There's nothing I'd want to switch to take this hit anyway. So it's also death fodder and being somewhat useful, and then I'm going to get a little bit more damage on there. Hoping to get it down to the L, which I think would be 60% at best. And that would almost certainly ensure the kill. And that is where I get it down to. It's right above half. So I'm feeling pretty confident now that Dragon Pulse from Timid Scarf Heatran is going to be able to knock Garchomp out, which I desperately need this thing gone. Well, okay. That was a little ball glitch there. I'm not sure what was going on with that. Anyway, Atomic Fire comes out, and Dragon Pulse, thankfully he stayed in, because this thing was definitely the biggest threat to me right now. It's the only thing I've seen, so of course it's the biggest threat. But I was pretty exuberant right there. I think he stayed in trying to call my bluff on using a fire move or whatever, but I had no clue what he had, so all I knew was there was a Garchomp in my face, and I needed it dead. So out comes Torterra, Shamrock, which tells me three things, or at least one thing for sure. He doesn't have a steel type, or at least not one that he wants to take hits. He doesn't have a dedicated special wall, and or that this thing, the Torterra, is what he wants to use as a special wall. So I don't remember at the time that what this thing does, even though I've faced it before. But obviously Torterra can have Earthquake, and obviously I'm scarfed onto Dragon Pulse, which is not going to deal that much to him. It's going to deal a decent amount, but not too much. So I have, however, shown him Moltres, and at this point I'm kind of afraid of a rock move. So I go out back to Falzer to do any three of his moves are super effective to Torterra, but he ends up to pull an Amnesia, and now I remember that I've seen this thing before. And so my plan coming in was to try to overheat from maybe a one-hit KO, but now that he has Amnesia up, that's definitely not going to happen. And so I have to do other plans. Fortunately, I do have other plans that you're about to see. So Overheat does a little under half, and that's definitely sufficient for my next attack, which I calc to be about 70%. And here it comes, a move that not many people ever use, but it's one of my favorite moves. Alright, so that was Sky Attack, known as God Bird in Japan, which is why I yelled that there. But anyway, critical hit because the thing also has like a high crit rate and a flinch chance. So it's like awesomeness. If only it had priority or something, it would be pretty nice. Anyway, I really like that move just because it's very rare to see it and it's pretty interesting. Anyway, so out comes Gengar now. And I do have Blissey this fight, Medi. I think it's my Bolt Beam Medi. But, you know, back in the day, Blissey was a pretty safe switch into Gengar. But, you know, Substitute and Pain Split, as featured by Xerxes' string of battles with that OU team, Sub-Split and Focus Punch is pretty annoying, and is definitely a thing that would be very good against Blissey. So I want to see what it wants to do. I'm just going to leave Falzer in. He definitely accomplished his mission, which was to just use Sky Attack and get it to work and get it to kill something. So I'm A-okay with letting Falzer die right here to a T-Bolt. But now I want to go out to Heat Man, as I'm still not sure what the thing wants to do. I'm also kind of hoping that I can kill it with Dark Pulse. I mean, Gengar's not that sturdy. He is that frail. And so Dark Pulse, super effective with Scarf instead of Specs. And as I calculate, but was hoping it would deal more, it did like 90%. Fortunately for me, however, his Focus Blast missed. So that tells me, okay, he's got Focus Blast, he probably does not have Focus Punch, and he also has Thunderbolt, so he's probably not, if he has Sub, he's not Sub-Split in all likelihood, so I feel pretty good about using, switching in Blissey at any point into that Gengar later on. But now I have Dark Pulse stuck, is what I'm stuck on, and he has a Dark type out, so I'm not going to deal too much there. I don't notice at the time that he has Life Orb, which comes into play later. But anyway, I figure he's probably going to switch back to Gengar, and I'm going to therefore set up a light screen. However, he ends up to have Fire Fang, because I think he picked that especially for me, and maybe a few other people. But fortunately, this is the only Fori I have that actually does have max defense. So I think they all have max HP, but this is the only one that has max defense. And if it was not for that, I don't think I would have died, but I would have definitely taken a lot more. So now I have a couple options. It would be nice to counter and get that thing dead, but that ends up to be a good decision that I did not go with counter. As now we pull a double switch, and it ends up to be, at the time I think, well in my favor. Considering I just reached the conclusion that Blissey was a perfect thing to send into this Gengar. And now I'm just going to kill it, I think. I was afraid of Explosion or something like that, so I wasn't sure, you know, what his other moves were. I've only seen Focus Blast, T-Bolt. I assume he has Shadow Ball. And so I don't know what his fourth move is, or his third move, but I assume it's Shadow Ball. And so I thought about just using Soft Boiled. He thought about this for a while, because I think he told me on IM, of course we were IMing throughout this whole thing, and he told me he didn't think that I would use an attack move, but he ended up to debond anyway, so I did use an attack move, and therefore Medi just took 760, no, 700, why do I get 6 and 7 mixed up? 672 points of damage, and was knocked out. So we trade 1 for 1, and I guess that's okay. Blissey would not have been that useful later on in the fight, but you know, still would have been nice to have. I'm also not sure how I would have dealt with the switching around for debonds, and you know, I probably would have put myself in a bigger hole if I had not sacrificed Medi there anyway. So out comes the Duel of the Two Birds. I'd been wanting to send in this guy, but I needed a free drop because he can't really take any hits despite having decent HP. And at this point, I'm intimidated, but I'm going to go for a crit anyway, so I'm not really that concerned with it. So I had a previous match where Scarf Raptor totally ruined me, at least so I thought. So I decided I can't let this thing just kill me with Brave Bird or whatever easily. I've got to go for Sucker Punch, even though he'll probably switch, which is what he did. And now this thing's out, which I don't feel as threatened by, as well, I don't resist Poison, but I resist Crunch, or whatever Dark Stab he has. Probably, I think he already used Crunch. So I'm probably going to go for my other moves that have high crit rates, and I spent some time calculating whether Air Cutter or Heat Wave will deal more, and I'm pretty sure Heat Wave is going to deal more. However, I think it may have less accuracy or something. It's got a lower crit chance anyway, especially with Super Luck. So I decided to go for Air Cutter, go for the crit, and I don't know if if a Heat Wave would have killed him there or not, but anyway, I didn't get a crit, and out come, as I said, I Sucker Punch trying to finish the thing off, and out comes like the worst possible thing this guy could ever face. It's something that's faster than him, has a super effective move, and commonly carries Substitute. So this is just fantastic. Substitute is definitely predicted. However, I'm thinking long term, what do I need to do to get this thing dead? my end goal for this thing is to have it with no sub and not full hit points. So he subs once and no leftovers, so there's my not full hit points, and I just have to get that sub gone. He substitutes while he has a sub up to try to fake me out and get me to not use Sucker Punch, but I don't fall for it. I know what I need to have done, and he does Thunderbolt now, and now I've got what I wanted out of it. I did lose my Honchkrow, Reggae, who is the evil version of Beat that Dr. Wily has, I guess. Not that common in appearance, but that's what Reggae is. Once again with the ball weirdness. It's on Heatran both times, too. Anyway, I would love, obviously, to use Earth Power on this thing, but I can't get Scarfed into Earth Power when he has the bird. So that just is not going to be good. So I have to go for Lava Plume, and it doesn't kill, but that's okay. Because that Focus Blast missed earlier, I'm able to take a Thunderbolt, take it fairly well. I mean, I live it, and I don't get paralyzed from it, and I don't get critted, so that's fair enough. Lava Plume finishes that thing off. And now he sends in the bird, which at this point I'm still expecting to be Scarfed, and therefore kill me with close combat. But I'm going to click, obviously I have to click Lava Plume, as I'm Scarfed onto it, hoping for a burn maybe, even though I'm pretty sure Bird would still kill me with close combat. I think he said he had a Focus Sash anyway, so me not setting up Stealth Rock was pretty bad, although I don't think I brought a Stealth Rocker, just a Spiker, which I didn't even use. I used Light Screen instead. But anyway, he close combats, and so here comes Grenade Man again. And at this point, it's pretty much over, I think. He goes for Endeavor. I just clicked Counter just because I thought it would be funny. And it turns out that Endeavor is actually a physical attack that you can counter, so I didn't even really think about that, but I guess it is. It's kind of like Seismic Toss. It's just set damage. It is physical, though. So here's Fire Fang, and that's good game, Cman. I'm just going to click Rapid Spin just for the heck of it, because, you know, maybe I can kill him. Oh, wait, what's this? He misses, and he has about 40 HP and 30 or 300 max HP, so look what this sets up. So because of that Rapid Spin dealing like an extra 10 to 14 damage, you can check on his version how much HP it exactly had. So now he's going to Fire Fang and hit. Sure, Grenade Man goes down, but because of that Rapid Spin, look at this. Grenade Man goes down, and then Life Orb and Riptail goes down. So it ends up to be a tie, which is absolutely hilarious. I love ties. I've had one before, which is something that you'll see later or before, depending on when you're watching it chronologically or in order by numbers. But that was great ending to that. I probably could not have scripted it better. I was definitely much more satisfied with this tie than I was the other one I had with someone who will remain nameless at this point, but you can see in battle number, I'm not going to disclose it. But anyway, yeah, Rapid Spin for the tie. Thanks for playing, Cman. I've got a special bonus that you can click around now, and check that out, and later days.